Do you have a health issue that impacts your daily life? Do you live in the UK? If you answer yes to both those questions, you're entitled to PIP. It's called personal independent payment, and the government, it's basically government funding. It is a benefit, but in my head it's government funding for those of us with chronic illness because they want us to be independent. They want us to be independent for as long as possible. Now, do you own property? Do you work? Does your partner earn quite a bit of money? Do you earn quite a bit of money? Do you claim benefits? Are you in rented accommodation? Do you claim benefits for children that you have? All of that, whatever you answered to those questions, it's all irrelevant. PIP is not means tested. That means it doesn't matter if you own property. It doesn't matter if you work. It doesn't matter if you're married. It doesn't matter if you're single. It doesn't matter if you've got children or not. Nothing matters apart from, is your daily life impacted by your health condition, by your disease, by your chronic illness? If yes, you're entitled to PIP. You're entitled to it. So who am I and why should you listen to me? I'm Charlie. I have a severe form of arthritis and my daily life is massively impacted by my disease. I am still working and I do own property and I do get 100% of a PIP payment. Now, I have helped a number of people with PIP and I have a 100% success rate. That's right, 100% success rate. There are organisations out there that you can pay, I think it's £100 and you get 2 hours with someone and they will fill out your form. I actually don't recommend you pay £100 to one of those organisations because the failure rate is really high. Now the reason for that is when I help someone with PIP, it takes me about 15 hours to complete the process with them. That is before the assessment. And the reason it takes this long is because most people, and probably you if you're watching this, we're very stubborn, we're very proud, and we don't like to admit when we struggle with something. So most people that I help, they're not honest with themselves, and it takes a while for them to think about the questions I ask them and be honest so we can fill out the form correctly. The way to do this PIP claim is watch this whole thing through, okay? Think about what I'm saying because you are going to view things differently, okay? I am going to open up your eyes so that you can be more self-aware, because if you're anything like me or the people that I've helped, well, let's face it, if you're dealing with chronic illness, you're a warrior. You're stubborn. You're stubborn in a good way. But to complete the PIP process, you need to be really blunt about how your life is impacted. So go through the vlog, watch it, have a good think about it, and then complete your PIP form. Go through the vlog again, bit by bit, and complete the PIP form. And I will give examples I'll take you through each page of the 44-page document. I'll tell you what to worry about, what to not worry about. I'll tell you what wording to use. I'll tell you I'm going to show you how many points you're going to get. I'm going to show you how they do this. The people that actually audit and allocate how many points you get, I'm going to show you how that's done. I'm going to give you everything you need to understand what you're entitled to, and so you can win. So stick with me and we will get through this the other side. Also, if you've got any questions, you can comment below and I will try and get back to everyone. This is really important, really important. If you are one of those people that just wants to live off benefits, that isn't ill and claims fucking everything so you can sit around doing nothing and has a bigger TV than what I've got, a better car than what I've got, and I fucking work full time. If you want to use this information to get yourself another benefit, fuck off. This vlog is for people that truly struggle with their health and are too fucking proud, in most cases, to apply for what they're entitled for. I had to get that out because it's people like that that have made this process horrendous. And I'm just going to be honest with you, applying for PIP, it's not nice, okay? But you could be entitled to up to £600 a month. And we all know that when you're suffering with chronic illness, every penny counts. Because you can't afford, like, if you're knackered, you haven't got the energy to do a meal. Sometimes we live off takeaways, not through choice. you know, it's got no choice, or you have to pay for a taxi because you can't walk the distance, or you haven't got the energy for public transport. Being ill costs money. Took me years to figure that out. I couldn't figure out my finances. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the horrendous application process. This bad boy, okay? 44 pages, okay? Now, it's not that bad. So I've got this covered up because it's got someone's address and details on there, okay? I'm completing this for someone, right? And this isn't that bad, right? This vlog is time-stamped, so you can click to the bits you want. It's going to take you, look, no shit, I'm sorry, it's going to take you hours to do this. It's going to take you hours. And I'm not going to be very bantery and everything in this vlog. I'm just going to cut the shit and explain to you and give you the information. Now, for example, obviously all of us, we are affected slightly different by our health issues, okay? So in some of the sections, I'm going to give examples if you have fibro, if you have arthritis, if it's mental health, if it's more physical, so that we can try and help as many people as possible in this one vlog, okay? This, you don't need that. You can read it if you want, but I find most people just get more stressed when they read this, okay? So this will just cut the shit, all right? So get rid of that. See, already I'm cutting the crap. Look, I've got a snazzy camera. Now, I suffer from chronic fatigue, so I don't have the energy, because this takes me so long to do, I don't have the energy to fucking film it and like do it all posh, and I've got to get this done for the deadline. So that's why you can see the camera in this, but I'm figuring you don't care as long as I give you the information. Okay, so page 1 of the form, it's really simple. It's saying this is to you, okay? So page 1, done. So page 2 is basically send it back to us and what happens next. So the short version of that is this takes months. Okay, once you send it off, it'll be months. Page 3 is about the form. It's fucking long. Yeah, brilliant, thanks. Page 4 is blank. I still count that as complete because this is a big document, okay? So page 4 that we're gonna work on is if you're filling the form in for someone else. Yes, I am, okay? Page 6 is where we actually start to write something, okay? So page 6 is, have you got someone filling this form in for you, all right? Now on this, if you do have someone filling the form in for you, don't worry about it. And in the section of relationship with the person, keep it simple, just put friend. Just put friend, that's it. I don't put advisor because it makes me sound posher than what I am, yeah? Just put friend, okay? Obviously if you're filling the form out yourself, just ignore this page. So that's 6 pages done in what, less than 30 seconds? It's not that intimidating. Right, if you are signing the form for someone else, right, if you've got a relative that is in care, like a parent or a grandparent, if someone has to have help with fully washing themselves, if they have to have home help come in, you're 100% entitled to all of PIP. That simple, you're entitled to it, okay? So if they're not able, for example, if they have dementia or they've had a stroke and they're not able to sign the form, that's what page 7 is for. Okay, now this is dodgy ground because it gives the impression that you can help someone and I could be appointed to sign the form. The first time I did this, it does give the impression that you can help people and speak for them. You can't at all. So if you're helping someone and they can write, they can sign their name and they can talk, don't sign the form for them. Don't sign it for them. Trust me, it's easier, okay? I had a lot of issues with that. Now, on page 7, what is interesting is this bit, okay? Right, so see here, it says, I always have difficulty cooking by myself and I cannot safely cut up ingredients or lift pans because of my severe arthritis. Now, most people lose their PIP claims because of words, because of terminology. If you say, sometimes I can do something, you've lost. If you can sometimes do it, you've lost. Now, do not click off this vlog if you're thinking, but Charlie, sometimes I can do stuff. No, do not click off this vlog because I'm going to explain it to you. If your life is impacted by your illness, you are entitled to this. Stick with me because I'm going to go through everything with you, okay? It's that simple. And that's why I have a 100% success rate in PIP claims, because it's really simple. If your life is affected by your illness, you are entitled to this, and I will teach you how to win, okay? Now, see where they've put the word I always have difficulty cooking. Always, yeah? If it said I, like sometimes like what I just said, or if it says I could cook if I'm feeling good, you've lost the PIP claim, right? Do not use words like sometimes, might be able to, if I'm feeling good, I can. Just say, for example, you do have a parent that's gone into, that needs care, that can't sign. You have to be like the legally appointed person before you can sign this form for them, okay? Now, you can seek advice from PIP. They do want to help you. It's just because of all the dickheads that have put the false claims in that they make this process very uncomfortable. Okay, right. I'm just doing the timestamps on this, right? And I've realised what I've missed from this section is on the PIP chat groups, the support groups, there's some people giving terrible advice. Do not do this. Please do not do this because you will lose your claim. A lot of people say, or advising people, that when you're asked a question, can you prepare meals? What you should say is yes, but. They're advising people to say yes, but it hurts, or yes, but I'm really tired afterwards. Do not do that. If someone is advising you to do this, they are giving you the wrong information. You will lose your points. If you say yes, followed by the word but, it doesn't matter what you say after the word yes. You've said yes, you can. That's it. No points. No points. So don't listen to people that say that. Please don't listen to them, because it infuriates me that there's so many people out there giving bad advice, which is another reason why I wanted to get this done. And again, I'm confident that I'm right, because I have 100% success at winning PIP claims. 100% success. So please trust me on this. Again, stick with the vlog. If you're thinking, but Charlie, sometimes I can, but after I've done that task, I'm really sick, I have to go to bed. Keep following the vlog, because I will teach you how to explain it in a manner that you will win, because it's all about the way you say things. It's about how you say it. Unfortunately, if you use the wrong wording, the government's skint. If you use the wrong wording and they've got any opportunity to decline you, they'll use it. So keep sticking with the vlog, because I will teach you how to get the information across. You're doing great. If you're still watching, we're about 10 minutes. I know it's a couple of hours long. Take a break. Just keep coming back to the vlog. You're gonna get there. Page 8. Okay. This one. So we're on 8 pages. Not taking us long. Okay. So declaration. This is basically stating that we're not lying. Okay. This is the fact. Now for this bit, I need to put a little marker on, because I will not be signing this form, okay? So what I do for people that I help, I'll go through and put these little things on, so when I see them, I'll sit down with them, and then we'll go through the little bits that I need them to do for me. Now we're starting section 1. So we're on page 9, about your health condition. So this is, you need to be diagnosed. So for those of you with fibro that still aren't diagnosed yet, get diagnosed. Get diagnosed. Okay. So this bit is simply condition. It says approximate start date, and when I've helped people with this, they seem to panic. It says approximate for a reason. Like, if it was years, just guess. Yeah, just put an approximate date in. So you don't need to put. It does say start date, right? You don't need to put the 1st of May 2007. Like, you don't have to put that. So I've done this many times, and they are quite happy with, like, it does say the example about 14 months ago. So for some people it's like about 10 years ago, about 8 years ago, about 5 years ago. Because I find that most people that claim this, you've been ill for a while, we're too stubborn, we don't help us, we don't make our lives easier because we don't want to admit we're struggling. So this, it's not about, you're entitled to this. I know I keep saying it. You're entitled to it. Okay, right. So let me shut up and fill this bit in. Okay, so I've put in this individual's medical issues. Now, for those of you with IBS, we put 30 years ago, but it wasn't really fully understood then, was it? So that's about when it happened, and it's obviously GP's got records of it. Now, 80% of us that deal with chronic illness suffer from depression and anxiety, okay? So on this one, she's only recently spoke to her doctor, a GP, about it, so I've put the date there because it needs to be, this has to be on your medical files. However, I've put that it started a lot earlier. It's taken her a while to actually speak to her GP about it, okay? So they don't really want the breakdown of detail like that, but it will come up in your assessment. In your assessment, they will go through all of this at the beginning of your assessment. Whether it's phone or face-to-face, they'll go through this detail with you, okay? Then we're moving on to meds. And it's got paracetamol here as the example. Paracetamol is a really good drug, right? Because it's, everyone's taken paracetamol at some point. So you put everything down, okay? Everything. Now, for those of you that don't have one of these, mine's so worn that I have to keep rewriting the letters on. If you don't have one of these, I've got my happy cow on mine because it makes me, every time I see it, it makes me smile. If you don't have one of these, but you take more than one tablet a day, or even if you take one tablet a day, get one of these. You will get points on your scoring system on PIP if you use one of these. Get one. And for those of you that suffer from fatigue, I guarantee if you're not using one of these, even if you are, you're probably missing some of your meds. It's no good if you're stashing all the boxes in your handbag that's the size of you could fit 2 weeks worth of holiday clothes in it if you're one of those handbags. You need these. You need them. Get one. And on YouTube, you're not supposed to tell people what to do, but this is important. For this PIP claim, you need one. And for those of you that are probably missing some of your meds, which is screwing you up, you need one of those. Get one. So I've just been filling this bit out now. I thought I had all of the information here, but I actually don't. I haven't written down when it is, so I've got my little marker in there to cross-check when we finalise the form. For those of you with conditions like COPD or something with your lungs, or like fibro, you might be at the point where they haven't given you meds. So you've been diagnosed, but you haven't been given meds. Don't worry. A lot of people are in that situation where you're worried you're not going to get PIP because you aren't taking a lot of medication. That is not the point. That is not the point. The point is, does your illness impact your daily life? Yes. Anyone that's got chronic illness, it impacts your daily life. If that's it. Yes, you're entitled to PIP. So don't worry if you don't have much to go on the med page. Okay, don't worry about it. It's not gonna impact whether you get this or not. I've made a spelling mistake on the form. Fuck. There, I've spelled it wrong. Crap. If that happens, just do this. An initial where you cross out. Okay. Antibiotics. Now I'm putting here ad hoc, which means as and when. Yeah. Ad hoc, as and when. And that is on this form. They don't care about your spelling, your handwriting. What they want is to understand how your illness impacts you. Okay, so don't worry about that. I am writing in block capital letters because I want it to be as clear as possible, but everything that's written on this form, they will ask you about in your assessment, and you will go through an assessment. Oh yeah, so I've put this in because she's not taking them right now, But due to her COPD, she absolutely does take antibiotics and steroids multiple times through the year. So if you're in that situation, even though it's not current medication, write it down, because you'll need to talk to them. Because don't forget, this claim covers your life, and this covers you for 3 years. Okay? When you win this, it will cover you for 3 years. You won't have to go through this again for 3 years. Again, don't worry if you're not having treatment. So for example, I have a severe form of arthritis. I have psoriatic arthritis. I don't go in for treatment. I don't have physio. I don't go in the hydro pool thing. I'm on a lot of drugs, but I don't have treatment. So again, people worry on this one, and I'm going to repeat this a lot. This is if your illness impacts your quality of life, right? You don't have to be having treatment. There's a lot of diseases, fibro for example, like it's not like you can go to a clinic and it eases. You know, you wish, don't you? Those people with fibro wish they could go somewhere and make it ease. If you've got COPD, you can't go somewhere and all of a sudden your lungs are working great. Now, what's important on this is anything you're having in the future. So we've recently been through COVID, so this lady, she has got some referrals in, okay? So I've literally written that in there that she's waiting for it because of delays due to COVID, okay? Now, when you're doing this, I'm hoping that you've watched this before you've applied, yeah? You've got a month, I think it's a month to complete this form. This is a good time to go to your GP and book some things that you've been avoiding, like this next one I'm writing down. Counselling. All of us could do with counselling because we're humans, okay? I've got, sorry, you see there where the W doesn't look like a W? I have arthritis in my hands, so handwriting hurts, okay? So now I've done this for people that don't have anything in this, and they still won, okay? Easy to do. GP details. So GP, for me, I would put my rheumatologist in there, like who I speak to about my arthritis. And page 12 is also health professional. So it could be your physio. GP is always the first one. It could be your physio, it could be if you go to a clinic regularly, you could put that in. If it is just your GP, that's fine. That's fine. And that's all I'm going to put on this lady's. I'm just going to put in a GP. This one is preparing food. I need you to do something for me when we're filling this form in. I need you to be brutally honest with yourself. I need you to be self-aware. So each section that we do, I'm going to ask you questions and I need you to really think about it. So I would recommend you don't fill this out straight away. You need to have a good few days to think about this and pay attention to what you're doing. Everyone I've helped with their PIP, when I first say, I know we're doing preparing food, but I'm going to give you this example. When I say to them, do you have any issues washing and dressing? Nope, I'm fine. If you suffer from fatigue, you have issues with washing and dressing. You do. We all do. So I have to spend a lot of time with people, asking them questions and getting them to think about it and be honest with it's sort of easier for them to be honest with me than it is themselves. And then it takes a while for them to be honest with themselves. So when I do this, this process takes me 3 months, over 15 hours with each person, because I'll talk to them before they apply for it. Are they entitled to it? They'll apply for it. And then I'll start prepping, where I'll go through and I'll be making notes. And I'll ask them questions and they all go, no, I don't have any issues getting dressed. And I'll go, do you have to have a rest break when you're getting dressed? Do you put your bottoms on, then sit down? Yeah. Okay. Did you used to do that before you were sick, or would you just get dressed? Just get dressed. So you are impacted by your health, by your disease. when you get dressed. And it is heartbreaking to see them sort of go, oh, yeah? I'm like, it's okay. When you're doing PIP, this is the only time where it's good if you're impacted by your disease. Yeah, it's good. So, preparing food. If you suffer from fatigue, if tiredness is part of your disease, the answer here is yes. Really simple. It's yes. If there are times where you will eat something that requires minimal or no work, like for example, you don't feel good, so you'll buy a sandwich. That's it. That will be your main meal. Or you won't eat. Are there times where you don't eat because you're either too tired or you're in too much pain or you're exhausted? Is it yes? Okay. Again, if you suffer from tiredness, if fatigue is part of the impact of your disease, the answer is yes. Okay. So page 13 is really simple. It looks intimidating, it's not. So we've got a nice blank page on page 14 where we're going to talk about preparing food. Now this is the behind the scenes scoring system that PIP use. Okay? You need 12 points to get the... So if you are able to cook meals every day and you can stand and prepare meals, you get 0 points. So it is simply no issues. Yeah? If you have to have a seat when you're preparing meals, or you have to use equipment. So I used to have like this chopping thing for vegetables when my hands were bad, but not that bad. So I'd get 2 points. If you can use a microwave, you get 2 points. Yeah, if you can't use a cooker but you can use a microwave, you get 2 points. Now, if there are times when you can use a microwave, but there are times where your partner or your friend has to say to you, have you eaten today? Do you need to eat? You get points. We need to get that into this document, okay? If you need someone to feed you, then obviously 4 points, and obviously 8 points if you can't prepare and cook food at all. Okay? A lot of you are probably putting yourself in this category, but I'm hoping, based on what I said, but please think about this. Are there times where you literally don't eat? Or are there times, do you get times where you do prepare food, but then you can't eat it? Because you're so knackered from preparing it that you're done and you just don't eat it. Do you have it where your muscles or your breathing is impacted when you're eating? Quite a few people with COPD, literally eating, you get puffed eating. Or no, they get puffed when they're eating. Anyone with something lung-like, that counts. You've got to get that in there. Have a think about this and try and pay attention to yourself over the next few days, and then come back to this question, okay? Because I've had people where they've gone, actually they don't do anything because their partner does it, and I'm like, so that you have to put that in there. You have to say, my partner does all the meal prep. If you're doing the meal prep, this is another way to look at it, right? If there was someone that was there to do this for you, would your life be better? If you had a partner that prepared all the meals, it was stress-free, did all the washing up, everything, would your quality of life be better? Would you be able to eat healthier meals more consistently if that was the case? Now, this isn't... I find that able-bodied people, sometimes I've got a vlog on what to not say to a disabled person, right? And something people say to me is, I'd love to be able to lie in bed all day. No, you wouldn't. Not if you were forced to. None of us choose to be sick. So when I ask that question about if someone prepared the meals for you, would you eat better? It's not about having a maid. It's about the reality of it. When I do this, I really have to think about it. So this lady that I'm helping, the simple answer when I first started talking to her was the same as what everyone says. Yeah, I do meals. Right. It's not, okay? She has issues with her hands, pain in her hands. Once it's done, most of the time she can't face it. So if she uses her energy to cook, she can't eat the meal. Standing, she gets back pain and her breathing gets impacted. So she can't she couldn't make a spaghetti bolognese, you know? Like if her life depended on it, she could make spaghetti bolognese. This isn't about if your life depended on it, because most of us, if our life depended on it, we could do a meal, right? We're not going to, most of you that are watching this, we're not going to die, right? If it comes to the crunch, we live in the UK, we will get access to a meal. We've got to be careful about the stiff British upper lip, you know, of the, we will get through it, I'm fine, I can do it. So I'm trying to balance the point system and how to put it across. And in the assessment, you have to state this, you will be questioned on this. So you have to adjust the way you think. Because let's face it, at the beginning of this, most people, you're like, no, I can do meals. And I'm hoping that now you're watching this, you're thinking, shit, actually, a lot of the time I can't, or I have to sit down. I have to sit down a lot. So most of us, like, I got a perch stool and I sat it in front of the cooker. I've never felt so unsafe in all my life. Like, things are bubbling, it's hot. We teach children from a very young age, don't, like, careful. And then I'm perched, look over a cooker. Like, I ended up getting burnt and scolded. Like, so most of us don't have a seat in front of the cooker because it's not fucking safe, right? If you have to take breaks, an aid is a seat, okay? If your hands hurt when you're chopping stuff, there are tools out there, like chopping things tools, right? Or where like you can shove it in a blender thing, okay, which is what this lady does. So because of her breathing, she puts things into, what are those things? What are those things called? Like, it's got your vegetables and fruit in, and smoothie. That's it, smoothies. I've got a bit of brain fog today, but I've got to get this done. And I keep putting off recording it because it's so big. Like, it's not going to be a 13-minute vlog, is it? So she puts things in. She has to, like, not fully smoothie it, but so she can eat it because of her COPD. Me, I've got arthritis in my jaw joints, so talking, it hurts, it always hurts. And I will go, like, this is as far as I can open my mouth. Like, that wide. Okay. So I have to have soft food. Like, at the moment, my diet is pretty much rice because I don't have to chew it. I could just straight swallow it. I do sort of move it around my mouth a bit because it's just natural to do that, isn't it? She does need to be prompted. So, right. If there are times where you will skip a meal because you're too knackered, or you're in too much pain, or you're asleep, you need to put an approximate time in a week, okay? So I've put approximate twice a week, I will not eat as I'm too tired, okay? Every couple of days, that'll happen, where she'll skip meals, okay? That she has to rest when she's getting food, her hands hurt, she gets puffed, okay? And if she does manage to put it in the microwave and get everything done, sometimes by the time that's happened, she can't face it. And if she's puffed, she can't eat, because like when you're You don't want to put something in because you're trying to get your breath. And then if it's something warm, by the time she's got a breath, it's manky and cold. It does sometimes feel like you're just not hungry anymore, isn't it? But you're not hungry because your pain's taken over. Needs food that's small or soft. So think about that as well. Do you eat certain foods? Like a lot of us, when we're exhausted, will eat foods that aren't good for us, but they're easily accessible, like a takeaway. Like chocolate, which is really not good for us, but you can grab it. So yeah, sorry, my point is that some of us, we look like we're obviously not missing meals, but it's because we're eating unhealthy shit because we're not well enough to do meals. So you need to get that in there. Oh yeah, that was my point, sorry. Do you eat certain types of food? So for example, I will eat, like now, I'm eating rice. So at Iceland, they do this amazing paella. I think you get two bags for £5. And one bag is a meal for two. So my mum's, she puts one bag in the my brain fog's not good, is it? Frying pan, and she can just walk away and leave it and it'll slowly cook. So I don't have to chew it. Then my mum picks out the pieces of meat because it involves chewing. There's a lot of thought process. So although I'm getting a meal, admittedly my mum's doing it because I'm not fit enough, but I'm eating. Do you do meals that, yes, it's a meal and yes, you're eating, but actually you've adjusted what you're eating based on how you feel and trying to get through your day? If yes, write it down. I haven't been clear on that. Okay, so I am going to put in, I do not use my cooker. Okay, be nice and clear on that. So now that we've done page 14, which is the first one, which is preparing food, you're going to see, you now understand what it's like to fill out these questions. So it really is a lot of thinking and you being self-aware. You've got to be self-aware about this. And you need to, every single one of these questions I'm going to take you through, like I have with the preparing food, and get you to think about your circumstances and really open your eyes. Again, try and be really honest with yourself on, is your eating and drinking impacted by your health? Again, I still stand by, if fatigue is part of the impact of your illness, then yes, your eating and drinking is impacted. So the answer on this one is yes. Do you use a feeding tube or similar device to eat or drink? That should be really easy for you to all, yes or no. No. Oh shit. Oh, I've fucked up. See where it says there, put a cross in one box. So I'm just going to put a cross. So that means I've done that wrong on this page as well. Obviously I've made a mistake there. Doesn't matter so long as it's clear. Oh, there's a spelling mistake there. See, Pip, they've made mistakes as well, so don't worry. So then we've got our blank page to put our details in. I'm going to go on to the point system. You might think that, oh, automatically I'm this one because I can eat. No, don't automatically think that. Most of us are not going to be this, we need to be fed, okay? If you are, then, you know, pretty much this one question means you'll be fully entitled to PIP. So this one about needs to use an aid, if any of you have got pain, you get pain in your hands like me, wider cutlery, and I'm not talking about that disgusting, you're dying cutlery that they issue in quite a few nursing homes. I'm not talking about that type of cutlery, but I do use wider cutlery because then it involves less pain in my hands. So I'm going to, in the case of this lady, she does need to use an aid because her hands hurt. She won't have certain meals, she'll have a sandwich so she doesn't have to use cutlery, okay? So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to say, if my hands are really bad, so she'll just buy a sandwich from supermarket and eat that so she doesn't have to chop anything or do anything. I'm just going to put one of my markers in because I can't remember how often that is. So I'm also going on to this on about chopping the food. No, so because I hand search, she'll have specific things that don't need chopping, soft food that doesn't need chopping. So this is about, taking your meds, if you have any help with it, if you need reminding. So if you've got no meds and you have no treatment, obviously, it's a no, but. So yes, we've got some treatment. Actually put a cross in it this time instead of screwing it up. In the example in the book, it's got about, do you have problems getting the pills out? I have, I've got these little tubs that is got my pain relief in because of getting them out really hurts. And there's some that I physically can't get them out. I can't pop them out. So this lady, everyone, if you've got meds, this is called a DOSIT box or pill box. Make sure you use this because straight away it's a point. And if you are struggling with chronic illness, then I truly believe that if you're going to be in pain and knackered, which means you forget to take your meds. So you need it, okay? Now, when it comes to the points here, it's, for example, for me, I forget to take pain meds because it's not, with arthritis, it's not a simple case of take your pain relief every 4 hours because your pain's so variable, which I think most of us experience that. It depends on how much you've moved around, it depends on how flared up you are, it depends on the weather conditions, it depends on what you've eaten. There are so many variables. I take pain meds every day. I can't survive without the pain meds. I'm on tramadol, or Zydol in America, which is highly addictive. But for me, tramadol is what gets me out of bed. Tramadol enables me to be able to talk to you and talk to people, live my life. If I didn't have tramadol, I wouldn't be able to work, I wouldn't be able to function, I certainly wouldn't be able to do YouTube. It's what keeps me going, it's what gets me going. It is the drug that they will give people after surgery. That says what level of pain I'm in. So for everyone, my first bullet point is I use a pill pop. On this one, so I'm just going to check this lady's medication, okay? So with the tablets, she has to take them once a day, okay? Then it's inhalers. So actually that is easy to remember, with your routine of you get up, you take your pain meds. I'm so used to talking about my own treatment. She gets up, she takes it. I think if you have to take meds throughout the day, it becomes trickier. Unless another thing, I tend to find people that are taking meds for mental health that can be really crap at taking them. Even if it's once a day, it's I'll take it in a minute and then forget. Actually, that's a good point for everyone, isn't it? So this is the first time I've had someone with only taking the meds once a day and then it's inhalers throughout the day. But I know that she'll forget some of these, she'll get distracted and she'll forget. Which is why, you get the prompts. So, and you can see the time it's taken me to do this, yeah? And all this preparation, by the time you get to the assessment, it'll be much easier. Right, so I've got in that she uses that, so that's the point, right? So managing the treatment for this lady is actually really simple. She's got her pill pods and her son does check with her every day. That's it, okay? So I do try it, when we're doing all of these, try and keep it nice and bullet pointy, nice and spaced out. Don't write loads of crap because you don't need it. We're looking at the scoring system. So that's really simple. This section is about therapies. So this lady doesn't have any therapies that she does, like dialysis and things like that. She doesn't have that. So simply, I'm leaving that blank. Okay, next one is question 6, washing and bathing. Everyone gets tense about this one. And the toilet section. So if you're struggling with your fatigue levels and pain, your washing and bathing is impacted. I am sure that none of you smell, okay? But that doesn't mean that you're a 0, okay? So if you hold on to something to get into the bath and get out of the bath, remember, like most people, able-bodied people don't, yeah? They just step in it and they, you know, sit down and they're all right. Like if you're having to like, you know, like get ready and up, it's difficult. If you've got a seat in the shower, obviously that's an aid. This counts as if a friend or a family member says, are you gonna have a bath? Even though it's not, you need one. If someone's saying to you, are you gonna have a bath? It's because you haven't had one. Now, it's a lot of work to have, well, a shower, obviously you stood up, and if you're sat on one of those seats, it's frustrating because you can't wash your vagina that well. Like, you're just sitting there, it's difficult. So this lady doesn't get in the bath at all because of getting in and out of it. She has a shower. So here, because she can't get in and out and down, again, she gets points because she cannot do the bath herself. So she would need assistance to do it. She will not have it. She's not going to have someone in the bathroom with her. But if she did have assistance, she would be able to have a bath. For this one, again, you need to be clear if there are times where you don't, even though it doesn't say it here, I am going to be clear. You need to say how often you do have a shower or bath, because that is something, it helps them understand what your life is like. So I'm going to say for this lady, when we first started going through this, she was like, I've got no problems washing and bathing, and I'm like, I know she's got COPD and it's bad, so I know she has problems washing and bathing because she gets puffed, and if you get puffed, it means you're fatigued, so you can't always do it, and if you do it, you're wrecked afterwards. So, and then obviously it gave her the time to think about it, like, you need to think about it, became more self-aware, and she's like, yes, I have a problem. So she started off with she showers every day, to actually that's not reality. She tries to most days, so she probably showers a couple of times a week. So I gave her the Africa version of, it's only because in our culture, because we're so privileged, that there's this sort of expectation that you have to shower every day or bath every day. That's not normal around the world. It's not. So I'm saying she has a shower a couple of times a week. When you get PIP, you get to go to occupational health obviously this is in the UK, and then they can give you equipment to make your life easier. They came around, it was amazing. I learned so much. The woman was fantastic. They gave me a step for my door because mine was wobbly, it was dangerous. They gave me a perch chair, and they gave me the raised toilet seat, which I hate, and I took off. I know I will need to go back on at some point, but at the moment I count it as a squat when you lower down and you have to push, but I do hold on to things to get myself back up. So you can put in here of actually what would help, because once you go through this process, you can then get assistance. I'm going to add in when she's got a chest infection, she does need prompting to do that because she's just so exhausted. So we've got uses handles in the shower and a seat for resting. So we've got 2 points there. Do not take baths. So needs assistance to get in and out of the bath is 3 points. Do not shower if puffed or have a chest infection. Shower a couple of times a week or tries to. Explain about why. If you explain that you can't do it often, it's why. So you need to link it back to the energy. So you can see for her, I've put puffed because it links to the COPD, the chest infection, yeah, running out of energy. Because it's exhausting dealing with chronic illness. I do tend to use the word fatigue a lot. Let's face it, none of us want to be sick as it is, let alone having problems when we go to the toilet. So please do not skip this section, because again, if you've got chronic illness, which means that I don't know anyone that's got a chronic illness that doesn't struggle with fatigue levels, that doesn't struggle with their energy. So that means that the way you go to the toilet is impacted in your daily life. So for everyone I've helped with, it is, yes, it does impact them. And we're on page 22, we're halfway there, okay? By the way, you know at the beginning when we skipped quite a few pages because they were easy, there's pages coming up where we just get to skip them, it's really easy. So, right.
I'm sticking with fatigue here, and I'm going to be really blunt with you, okay? And I assure you that there are millions of us in this situation. We just don't talk about it, which I think is wrong, and I'm going to be doing other vlogs on this. I get it where when I have a bowel movement, I can't clean myself properly. I'm too tired. And how much that is, how little I can clean myself is, because don't you get it, like sometimes you wipe and there's not much like feces there. There's not much there, and you're like a couple of wipes and you're done. And then other times you're wiping and you're thinking, what? I don't understand what's happening. Like, you know, like 10 wipes later, you're still wiping. What the is going on? So obviously it's diet based, which again links to our health, doesn't it? Because if you haven't got the energy, then you're eating stuff that isn't good for you. There's a lot of times where I will have a bowel movement. I will try to clean myself. The worst that I hate is when I'm so ill that I have a bowel movement, I have the energy, I've got to the toilet, I've had a bowel movement, I've tried to clean myself, it's not enough. But I have to go back to bed and lie down and rest before I can carry on. For those of you that are in this category, oh my God, we're warriors. It's embarrassing, it's shit, literally. Like, you just want to be able to clean yourself and you can't because you're so exhausted. So then I get back up and I go back and I try and clean myself. But then I don't want to keep saying pants on because I've had to go to bed because I haven't been able to finish cleaning myself. I want to be clean. But then that means now not only have I got to like clean myself because I've had to go to bed, I've got to change my pajama bottoms or my whatever shorts I'm wearing. And that takes more energy. If I'm able to have a bath, oh my God, it's amazing. If I'm in this situation, it's amazing. Like if I don't feel that I'm clean enough, or do you do this, right? Where you have a bowel movement and you wipe and then you're like, oh, it's going to be one of those where you're wiping and wiping and wiping. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to get in the bath. I'm just going to get in the bath. And then you know that you're clean. Like, but you have to have a lot of energy to be able to do that, okay? So have a think about this and be really honest with yourself on is this your situation? So I have like 4 categories for this. 1, I could wipe and clean myself. 2, I wipe but it's not fully clean, so I'll have a wash at the sink. 3, I will wipe, it doesn't really work, I will get into the bath and clean myself. 4, I will wipe and I'm really ill and I can't finish cleaning myself, I will go to bed, I will rest, I will get back up later on, wipe again, and then I could go with like one of these options where I might have a wash. We are not alone. It's shit. That's the word that suits this category, doesn't it? So, let's talk about incontinence. Now, whenever I ask people this, no, I'm not incontinent. And then I warm them up and we bond. And then it's generally, by the time we've done meeting 2, meeting 3, that they'll go, you know, with going to the toilet. Yep. I always tell people as well about me being incontinent. I hope that by me going through that with you, you can be more open-minded about your stuff, especially the washing, okay? Now, if when you go to the toilet, you are holding on to something, sometimes to lift yourself up, like a radiator, a shelf, a sink, you don't get 0, okay? So I and this lady use a shelf to lift up, right? Oh, and don't forget, she has IBS. Those of you out there with IBS, oh mate, like what you go through is tough. So I'm gonna start with uses the aid. I can't remember if she uses a shelf or a radiator, so I'm gonna leave that blank and put one of me sticker things on. So straight away it's 2 points, and I'm also going to put in here about the sanitary towels. okay, to manage incontinence, right? So I don't care what terminology, like, right. So if you sometimes use a sanitary towel, like if you're going out and you think, oh, I'll put one in just in case, you get points on this. You get points on this. This is the only time in your life where this is a good thing. If you use a sanitary towel, like, because you get a bit nervous, that's great. Write it down. Put it in. It's the only time where I'm like, when I'm talking to people and when they open up about their, you know, issues cleaning themselves with bowel movements, I'm like, well done. That's brilliant. And you see them go, what? And I'm like, you'll get a point for that. You get points. So again, it's shit, but I'm like, it's the one time where I'll give people a high five and I'll be like, well, not, you know, like an arthritic high five or an arthritic fist bump, where I'll be like, welcome to the club. Right, so here, I have difficulty cleaning myself. That's another thing with cleaning yourself, right? If you've got arthritis in your shoulders, you try like putting your arm back there. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. See, well, I've done this loads of times, and it takes time to do this, right? And without this, I would never have won my PIP or anyone else's. Again, I am fucking raging at the lack of support there is in to go through the PIP claim. I've met people that at hospital and I'm like, do you get PIP? And they're like, no. And I'm like, and I'm looking at them, they can't walk, like they're exhausted, one of their arms doesn't work. And I'm like, this was a young lad, and I was like, I can tell by looking at you, you should be getting full PIP. Like, I was like, no disrespect, but you should be getting full PIP. And he's like, well, I did claim. I said, right. And he went, they told me I was fine. And I was like, look, I explained to him, that's how PIP works. Like, literally, you could have no legs and no prosthetics and say, I can't walk. And they would go, oh, yeah, he's fine. It's how it works because of the budget. The reason this is so long is they do need to know the information, but I genuinely believe they don't want people, you know, they want to fob people off. Everyone I've helped with PIP, they wouldn't have done it if I hadn't have encouraged them, done the form, prepped for the assessment, and been with them during the assessment, which is what I would do for this lady. And there just isn't the support out there. It's just not out there. So, but again, you are entitled to it. So stick with this. I'm really going to try and track the comments on this so that I can help you, all right? That's why we need our community. We're like battle buddies. Oh, vlog to battle buddies, all right? So now you can see here that in the scoring system, it doesn't say if you're unable to clean yourself, but you manage it, you get points. But in the example questions, it says, I always have difficulty cleaning myself. My care worker assists me. For those of us that struggle to clean ourselves after a bowel movement, we should, to make our lives easier, and if we weren't so proud and embarrassed, because I'm not fucking having this, instead of having to go back to bed unclean, I should have help. I should have someone help me clean myself. But I am not going to. And I'm sure there is a lot of you that is like, Charlie, I would rather have to wait and go back and clean myself than have to have someone wipe my ass. I get it. But again, you've got to imagine this PIP thing is supposed to be, what do you need in order to live your life as you should? The bit here that says needs assistance, this is where we get ticks. Here, these two, right, on that we're struggling to clean ourselves, okay? So I'm going to word it. So this is how I've worded this section, okay? So just state it that you experience issues, okay, with incontinence. And how often? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Like, if it's weekly, I try and say every couple of days, or it happens like twice a week, yeah? So I've put in, and this is exactly the issue that I have, and lots of us have, right? So I struggle to clean myself after a bowel movement. If I have the energy, I will shower to fully clean myself. If I'm having a bad day and going to the toilet multiple times, and I'm going to put in how often that is weekly, I'll put another thing in. I just do not have the energy to shower as well. I will rest and then go back to the toilet and clean myself some more. I hope that wording helps some of you. And again, don't be ashamed. There's loads of us in this situation. Dressing and undressing. If you're in pain and you're struggling with fatigue, I guarantee we are ticking yes. We're not ticking, we're putting a cross, because I put the text right. A cross in yes. Now, here's my question to you. Do you wear clothes with lots of buttons and zips? Do you wear footwear with lots of laces and hooks and zips? No. Are you wearing clothes that are comfortable and easy to get on? Yes. So your life is impacted. There is this. I'll put all the links below. Now, look, on the scoring system, if you use an age, you get 2 points, okay? Now, please remember that, like, I do not wear clothes with zips and buttons. If I wear clothes with buttons, like I have some posh tops that I wear if I've got posh meetings at work, but I will go to work and I will ask one of the guys, I work in transport, I'll ask one of the guys to do the buttons up for me because I can't do them. But then I have to remember to ask them to undo them. Like there's a top that I've got that's got buttons here, but I have to remember to ask them to undo them, otherwise I've got to sleep in it until I'm next with someone, right? So if you are avoiding wearing clothes with lots of buttons and zips and things, make sure you state you have this aid, because you should be able to wear whatever clothes you want, but we adapt. So you probably don't even, for some of you probably don't even realise that actually you have changed what you wear because of your illness. It's probably happened over time. So I've clarified the bit about aids that she will pretty much not wear, same as me, won't wear clothes with buttons and hooks and everything, but she can use that aid if she needs to. So for example, look at my outfit. So I've got a baggy top on, that was easy. I have got an underwear bra on, because my ribs are really good. I've got my socks on my elbows because it hurts when I rest on things. I've got my yoga pants, easy to get on, that come up to here, and then socks. So no buttons, no zips, okay? And if I need to, like the bra is major progress for me. I went for a while years where I couldn't wear this because it was too bad in my ribs. But if I need to, I can unhook the bra and I can sleep in this because it's such a comfy outfit. I had one lady who, it was really interesting. We'd never met. I was about to say something then, but I won't, just in case it links to her. But she was wearing this dress and it had like stretchy material here, and then it was flowy, and I was looking at it and I was like, bet she sleeps in that. It doesn't look like pyjamas or anything like that, but I bet it looks so comfy. And I was like, do you sometimes sleep in that? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. Oh, I know, I get it. And I do think, like, what I've loved about helping people with PIP, and I'm obviously out, like, we're battle buddies, is she was so happy when we got to have that conversation. So happy that someone else knows and gets it and does it. Now, this bit is, for quite a few of us, we don't want the assistance. So there's quite a few of us that we just either won't get dressed that day, yeah, or like, if I need to sleep in this, yeah. So that's where we tick these, okay? Now, if you've got shoulder problems, that's a big one for the upper body. So what I found is there's quite a few people with shoulder problems that don't have assistance, like they'll lift their arm or buy clothes that are sizes too big so it's easy to get on. Like I do that. I'll buy clothes that are too big so that I can get them on without a problem. Again, we should be able to put on whatever clothes we want to, and actually, like if I wanted to wear the clothes that I want to be able to put jeggings on, okay? I want to be able to wear jeggings, okay? I can't at this moment in time. I can't. If you ever see me in a vlog and I've got jeggings on, people are like, whoa, well done, like the bra today, whoa, well done me, yay. And this is the thing, isn't it, of like, I'm sure most of you watching this don't have a carer, because if you did, someone would have helped you film this. film this, brain fog. Someone would have helped you with your benefits. But if I would need a carer to assist me to put those clothes on. And if you're in the same situation, we need to be careful on the wording on this one. So even though we don't have assistance, actually, we should have assistance. I also find that a lot of people, their partners, again, because we're proud and stubborn, their partners don't realise how much, probably you don't realise, as I'm saying this, I think there'll be a lot of you thinking, shit, I do that. Yeah, I love that. I haven't worn that for ages because I can't. Or it would exhaust me to do it, or I'd get stuck. So I've got the users and aid about the zips and buttons, but actually avoid doing it. You know, I've been honest there, that most of us will just avoid wearing those clothes rather than use the aid. I've put the marker in because I can't remember how often this is. I think it's at least weekly, but I'll check that. That days of not getting dressed, and you know, about not getting dressed at all or sleeping in the clothes. That's a reality for quite a lot of us. And about getting prompted. So obviously when she's got chest infections, she stays with her son, and he'll prompt her, but it's the aftermath, you know. I think I've done a vlog on what to not say to a sick, chronically ill person, and I didn't actually include this because, again, like, if your family members are saying something like, you're not getting dressed today, or you're in your pyjamas. Like, I had someone turn around to his partner and said, oh, you always do that, where you go days wearing your pyjamas. And I was like, in his head, she's being lazy and it's the norm. But for her and me, well, for me, it's like a visual that she's having a really bad time. She's not someone at all. Most of us aren't. You don't choose to, don't get me wrong, pyjamas are really comfortable, but you don't, in our society, you don't choose to stay in them for days. If you are, it's fucking good reason. And for him, I was like, that's your tell. You can look at her and see she's not well. If she hasn't got dressed, she's not well. Don't be like, oh, pyjamas again. And that she needs assistance with upper body, but too proud. So I've put in here that she'll buy clothes that are too big or slip on, so she does not have to get help. Those of us that suffer from brain fog, which is probably a lot of us, a lot of you, because of pain and fatigue, yes, we have problems, okay? So, yes. So this is the simple one, is obviously if you use hearing aids or if you've had a stroke, your speech is impaired. Okay, but it's not just that. Quite often it says this, any help you feel you need but you do not get, okay? Part of the problem we have, or I have with this, is when I help people, because we prep so much and I'm so organised about it, they come across so well that they don't get the points on this, okay? So you're in the situation where I'm smiling because, you know, the answer is yes, but I'm hoping to, for a lot of people, the answer is yes, right? You're in a situation where, like, you can be with a doctor and you come across as that you get everything. So the doctor's talking, you're like, yeah, yeah, okay, yep. And you think, okay, all right, I don't understand some of that, but I'm a bit embarrassed, so I won't say anything. And you're like, yeah. And then you walk away and you're like, I can't remember what he said. I can't remember what she said. Does that happen to you? That does happen to you. You're here. Now, because you've prepared for this, probably not going to get the points. Okay, so don't fight this one unless you really, really need to, because it's difficult to fight because it's more that you come across all right at the time, but then when you're away, it's bad. So this, I've kept it really simple. And I think this is terminology that if you're in the same boat you can use. I do not understand complex information. I'm too embarrassed and do not tell people this. I agree with people when they're communicating, but when I leave, I can't remember what's said. And then I've put a son and friend to help me a lot. Again, it's very difficult to get the points on this because, if you sit there and when you're in the assessment and you're communicating with them, they'll be like, you're fine. So this pack, there is no way she would have done this. She's too much. She can't do it. This for her is complex information. So it's no good prompting. Like, you need to read it. You need to read it. It's no good doing that. She's not going to read it. Her anxiety will go through the roof. She doesn't understand it. Let me just say here, this is not about someone's IQ. Like, this lady is a really clever lady. Some people are just not good with written documents. They're not. She's really bright. She's amazing. As I'm sure there's loads of you watching this that you're really bright, you're really clever. Like, how many people with dyslexia and ADHD are shit at written stuff, but they're so clever? So please don't feel that anything negative about the scoring system here, okay? Or feel that if you're not good with complex information, like long words or like big paperwork like this, don't feel bad about that. Actually, I think I'm going to go for this one because I can read and I've left a bit of space for the dyslexia, and I'm going to just stick a note there. I cannot understand complex written information. Because I'm going to be with her during the assessment, this is really important. I prep for the assessment, I have notes, I keep this, and if they ask her questions, what they will try and do is prove that she does understand complex information. So, and because when they ask about her medication and what it's for, they'll probably count that as complex information. At the moment, she's in this position. Absolutely this position. Will not go to anywhere with other people unless it's like, even for her to come to my house was, it stressed her so much. I didn't realise that, because she'd been before, I didn't realise how much. Like, we can't agree a set day because then she'll panic about it all week. So she's in this position. So this one, I'm going to be really blunt. I cannot engage with other people. I'm not going to show you what I've written down for that one because some of the information there would give away who she is. So if it's a case of you don't manage your budget at all, your partner does, or someone does for you, it's really simple, just state that. Like, cannot make budget decisions at all. And if that's because you've got in debt or you've missed payments, make sure you write that down as the reason. So for this lady, I'm going to put, I'm going to go for this one, that she has had assistance with what to do with her money, and then everything's set up and she knows it's going out, you know, and what's left in the account. If she wants to treat herself to a cheesecake, she can. So that's the end of the daily living section, okay? Once you get to page 34, which is mobility activities, okay? So she absolutely is impacted, her mobility. So page 34, page 35, because of her COPD, yeah? Her mobility is affected. Now this daily living obviously takes a while. Like, I don't know how long this vlog has gone on for, it takes a while. This one is quick to do, okay? There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so in this one, it's really simple. Now, obviously they're going to try and debate with you. Be really honest with yourself. So what I ask people when I do their PIP with them is I go, if I said to you, tomorrow I need you to go to Southampton on public transport by yourself, plan the journey and travel tomorrow at 6 in the morning, how would you feel about that? First of all, would you be able to plan the journey? Second of all, public transport, travelling by yourself. If you're like, no, you stick with this, whichever one it is. Now, if it's with another person, you could go with someone else, say it. If you are absolutely not going somewhere different because it will trigger your anxiety, there is no way you'd do it because of fatigue, because of pain, because of the distress it would cause you, you stand by this, okay? I have good news. This is the last bit of the form. You are nearly there. There's a couple of other little bits, but they will take you minutes. You are nearly there, and this is an easy one. Okay, so moving around. Now, again, I've said this throughout this vlog. For example, getting dressed. Can you get dressed? If you got clothes on, people tend to go, yeah, I can get dressed. It's not that straightforward when you live in a chronic illness. Now, this is not, right, hang on a minute. First of all, let me Google this. I want you to imagine a double-decker bus. Ollie, I'm sorry, I'm overdoing it a bit, so she's trying to signal me that I need to go to bed. I'm just going to finish this. I'm just finishing this. Go and play. Go on. But let's pick a pride double-decker bus. A double-decker bus is just over 10 metres. So if you imagine, no, go and play. Hang on a minute, let me get you something. I'm so close to getting this finished. 50 metres is the equivalent of 5 double-decker buses. So I want you to really think about it. Most of us, if our life depended on it, we can absolutely make it the length of a double-decker bus. 5 double-decker buses. I want you to think, if I walked 5 double-decker buses, how would I be feeling? So if you're starting here, and then you're starting to get a bit puffed, you know your breathing's going to have changed. If you're already thinking, oh, Christ, how much further have I got to go? And ideally you need to have a rest break as you're doing this walking, that's the category you're in. So just think about it in double-decker buses. Don't let them confuse you on meters, feet, and everything else. 5 double-decker buses is about 50 metres. So really have a think about your walking. Obviously, if you're using a walking stick or a mobility scooter, then you're in this category, okay? Yeah, so you figure out which one you are. Observe yourself over the next few days of how you are when you're walking. And don't consider, I can do it because I push myself. No. Remember, the point of this form is supposed to be that you feel as well as you did pre-illness. So for quite a lot of you that are watching this, you should really be using a Zimmer frame. But you're probably doing what I did and thinking, I am not having a Zimmer frame. I don't need one, because you feel like it's putting you in a different category and it's admitting defeat. I did that for over 10 years. When I did get a Zimmer frame, totally changed my life, and I wish I'd done it 10 years earlier. We'll do a separate vlog on that. But really consider this when you fill it in, and be aware that when you go for your assessment, they're going to be watching how you walk. Page 40 is really easy. Your phone number, which I'm going to do in a second. About the assessment, you can have someone with you, so I'm going to put specific. I'm going to put that it needs to be in the morning, preferably a phone call, because I have got issues as well. So it would be, can't do the stairs, she can't do the public transport, needs accessible, we need all of it, yeah? So I'm just going to pop that in there. I've always filled out this bit for, yes, we do have needs. Like, if you're completing PIP, then you have needs, yeah? So don't just leave that blank, make sure you fill that in. It's a good checklist, yeah? So I'm going to put my thing in there, because I won't do that. I won't do that until I've gone through all of these with her, okay? And then I'll do my final checklist. And don't worry about this, right? So sign it, yes. Read and understood the notes. Yeah, you've gone through, if you've watched this vlog, you've read and understood it, right? Answered all the questions. Just do a check that you've answered everything. Taken off and kept the letter at the front of the form. I cannot tell you how important this is. Right. Actually, I'm not going to turn it to the front because our details are on there, but make sure you keep that because it's got the date on there. So I had one person where I said, we've sent it, and they were like, we don't have any records. And because I didn't take the front copy, we had to start again. Photocopy the whole thing, photocopy it. So you can see it's got the date there, okay? That's why you need to keep this front page, all right? Included photocopies of supporting evidence. I have never put supporting evidence in a PIP claim, and I have a 100% success rate. Don't even bother with it. Like, if they want to check with your specialist, it'll all be on the NHS system. They can write to your GP. Do not make this more complicated than it needs to be. It's just simple. You state facts. You can do it, you can't do it. That's it. So don't bother with that. And absolutely take a photocopy of this. Take a photocopy, because the next vlog is going to be how to do the assessment, okay? Obviously not this one because this has gone on for a long time, but the next one will be how to do the assessment, and you need this. You must take a photocopy, and not just pictures on your phone. You need a hard copy in front of you so you can make notes on it for when you do the assessment. You must take a photocopy of this. So that's page 42. 43 is blank, done. 44 is their address. So when you put it in the envelope that you received, just make sure the address is there in the window. That's it. You are done. Use the comment section below and I will try to answer everything. Obviously, I'm ill. So if there's a delay or I don't get to you, I'm so sorry. But I really hope that our community, we can help each other.